Henry Clay Frick.
Hello, Frick. I'm gonna need you to take over my operations for me while I'm in England.
Oh, I'd be glad to. Things are going well, right?
Well, not quite. You're gonna have to negotiate with my workers and try to get them to stop rioting and striking.
I'll try.
In the era of the dramatic industrialization following the Civil War, the most powerful of the big business corporations were the railroad companies. The economic depression that had begun in 1873 caused the companies to reduce the pay of their railroad workers by 10% in order to protect the profits they had made. In the year of 1877, on July 14th, the cutting of their wages for the second time in a year by the Baltimore and Ohio Railroad proved to be the last straw for the workers. A series of strikes started in Martinsburg, West Virginia, and quickly spread to cities from St. Louis and Chicago to New York and Baltimore, hitting Pittsburgh on July 19th. The strike in Pennsylvania became the site of the worst violence. On July 21st, 600 troops marched up to the strikers. The crowds of men, women, and children that supported the strikers welcomed the militiamen with loud protests of anger and outrage. The troops opened fire on the unarmed crowd, killing 20, 3 of them small children. Workers from other cities and towns in Pennsylvania joined in the strikes or in rallies and meetings supporting the strikes. On July 26, troops of the U.S. Army joined with the state militia units to take control of the city and reopen all railroad operations in Pittsburgh. This was the first time in history that federal troops were utilized against strikers and labor protests.
It's not working, Carnegie!
Well, have you tried to compromise?
I can't. The Amalgamated Association of Workers wants so much.
Well, please slightly improve conditions.
On May 4th, 1886, a labor protest rally near Chicago's Haymarket Square turned into a riot after someone threw a bomb at police. The rally was originally organized by labor radicals to protest the killing and wounding of several workers by the Chicago police during a strike the day before at the McCormick Reaper Works. When the bomb was thrown, the police and some armed members of the crowd opened fire. At least 8 people died as a result of the violence that day. Despite a lack of evidence against them, 8 radical labor activists were convicted in connection with the bombing. The Haymarket riot was viewed as a setback for the organized labor movement in America, which was fighting for such rights as the 8-hour workday. At the same time, the men convicted in connection with the riot were viewed by many in the labor movement as martyrs. The riot set a wave of xenophobia in the United States, a fear of anyone foreign. Foreign-born radicals and labor organizers were rounded up by the police in Chicago and elsewhere. In August 1886, 8 men, labeled as anarchists, were convicted in a sensational and controversial trial in which the jury was considered to be biased and no solid evidence was presented linking the defendants to the bombing. Judge Joseph E. Gary imposed the death sentence on 7 of the men, and the 8th was sentenced to 15 years in prison. On November 1st, 1887, 4 of the men were hanged. In the aftermath of the Haymarket Square riot and subsequent trial and accusations, public opinion was divided. For some people, the events led to a heightened anti-labor sentiment, while others, including labor organizers around the world, believed the men had been convicted unfairly and viewed them as murder.
What do we want?
Lower wages!
When do we want them?
Now! Strike! 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 Strike!
Shorter workday!
Better wages!
Compensation!
Equal work for equal pay. Better conditions.
We need to organize.
Yeah. What's our name gonna be?
How about the Knights of Labor?
No, Pressman, you're supposed to look for my hand!
To be really intense.
3, 2, 1, action.
We have to organize.
Yeah. What's our name gonna be?
How about the Knights of Labor?
Look for my hand!
You're doing it!